Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Melissa Chartrand. Last week I sat down with Roy Richardson, president of the Centerville Historical Museum, and learned more about the museum as well as viewed the Old Home Week display currently there through September. Roy chatted about the history of Old Home Week and current activities planned for this year's celebration, which is going on this week in Centerville.
The museum has been in existence as an idea and then as a actual place people come since I would say around the 1950s. One of the things that I like to think of in terms of Centerville is I like to think about Craigville Beach. And my introduction to the Historical Museum was through a couple, Ruth and Lloyd Miller, who lived down at number 1300 Craigville Beach Road. In fact, the interesting thing about them is that they lived in the last house that was built by the Industrial Arts Program in town. And that's always impressed me. But Lloyd, as he, before his passing, was talking to me about the important things of Centerville. And we were down at the beach, and he said to me, he said, Roy, he said, I want you to take a look. And he said, Craigville Beach hasn't changed in, he said, 85 years. That was his age, and because he spent his summers here also. And it was sort of a commission to me to do whatever I could do in order to help preserve that. And of course, as time moves on, it becomes more and more difficult to preserve those important things that we have. And Centerville Historical Museum is certainly doing that in terms of histories of families, histories of houses, things that were common usage in the 1800s. And the museum has as its task preserving the history, the tradition, and some of the artifacts of the village of Centerville from its very early days. We have a magnificent collection here, in fact, of many things. And from time to time, we, from our vast inventory of things, have themed exhibits. As time moves on, it becomes more and more difficult to preserve those important things that we have. And Centerville Historical Museum is certainly doing that in terms of histories of families, histories of houses, things that were common usage in the 1800s and that sort of thing. And if you want to know who you are, you have to be able to look back and also to look forward. And so much of what we are today has been the result of what has come before. And as times change, it's not that we want to stand in the way of progress. We certainly enjoy many things, but we need to preserve our community character. We need to preserve our resources and value them, treasure them, and not to abuse them. And I think the museum is sort of a symbol for that.
Right. They've done a tremendous job, as you say, not only with their permanent collections, but these rotating exhibits that come in. And one such exhibit is the Old Home Week exhibit here on display. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that display, and we'll go from there into the activities. But tell us about the display.
The Old Home Week display goes back to the very first Old Home Week. And I've already showed you the book that we have.
Oh, yes, why don't you show me? Let's see.
And it has the programs and events of all the things that took place back in 1904. Oh, there's a picture of one of the participants, Russell Madison. You can see how dignified he looks, a suit and a bow tie and a wonderful beard. And here is the residence of Russell Marston, which is right up the street here, Fernbrook, and in the early days. And here is another participant, Serenius Lovell, and then here is the residence of Aaron Crosby. It's right also almost next door. Here we have the summer residence of some people who would come down here in the summer, and you can see the dirt road, which is on the main street, how things have changed.
And then I'm sure it lists the events, and I'm sure the events from Old Home Week are quite different than what you have this year, or?
Well, we tried to fashion the events that we have after the ones they had on the original Old Home Week. This year's Old Home Week, the activities are still based on what took place. Now, on Thursday evening, which is our Old Home Week road race, now that has historical foundation in Old Home Week, because in the very first Old Home Week they had sack races and three-legged races, and they also had other kinds of athletic events. They had a regatta. We're not having a regatta this year, but we have had a regatta in connection with our Old Home Week. The Old Home Week is beginning on this Sunday night at the Tabernacle at the Craigville Conference Center.
Okay.
And the Tabernacle itself is a very historic building. It opens up on the sides. It's wood. It's 1800-ish, and it's a very, very lovely and comfortable place. But we have a concert given by the Hyena Sound, and we've had them every year since we reinstituted the Centerville Old Home Week program, which was in 1994. There was a group of us that were meeting on a pretty regular basis to talk about charter schools. And in the course of that meeting, one of the members, actually Rick Porteous, had a copy of this book, not this one, a book similar to this, which outlined the Old Home Week program. And as some of us sort of reviewed that and thought about it, they thought, well, wouldn't this be wonderful to do? So we started in 1994, and we have recaptured that whole spirit of Old Home Week for these past 15, 16 years. One of the big events is down on Craigville Beach, and it's going to be on the I think it's the 14th. No, yes, it's on the 14th on Saturday night. And it'll start out with the fire department demonstration for the kids, and the foam will be down there, and kids and their parents have too. Some have ventured dive into the foam and come out, and then everybody gets a good wash off on the beach and afterwards. And then following that, we have a wonderful band concert. It's grown from a small group of a few hundred to many hundred. Even I think last year it was a couple of thousand that were down on the beach. Families bring their picnic suppers, and they just make a night of it. And then it concludes with a bonfire. And in the pictures that I provided you, there is a picture of a bonfire. Right. And that I have to say that everybody has a chance to play a part in the whole Old Home Week. We're grateful for all the people who sort of make themselves available to help. It's been very, heartwarming to see residents of Centerville come together for this occasion.
Here's a look at the remaining meetings taking place at Town Hall this week.
On Wednesday, August 11th, the Zoning Board of Appeals meets in the Town Hall hearing room at 7 p.m. Also at 7 p.m., the Old Kings Highway Historic District Commission meets at the West Barnstable Community Building on Route 149. On Thursday, August 12th, at 4 p.m., the Barnstable Historical Commission meets in the Selectmen's Conference Room.
That will do it for today. Thanks for joining us. For Barnstable Today, I'm Melissa Chartrand.